Hey rockers, how's it going, my friends? Glad to have you guys back at Bloody F Mess Official. You know, I've been out of the loop. I've been working a lot, and I've been just doing a lot of stuff, putting out these Bloody Mess in the Scabs t-shirts. Thank you guys for the overwhelming response on that. You can check out my posts and videos on this channel. My deadline is Saturday if you'd like to get in on the Bloody Mess in the Scabs t-shirts. Before I start the video tonight, which is going to be a curveball story. Yeah, it's not really about rock, punk, or metal. So for those of you that are not really interested in my personal stories, just want to be transparent, you might want to blow this one off. But if you're into all things Bloody F Mess Official, you'll probably dig this story. There's some weird twists to it. Before I get into that, though, thank you so much to the guy that sent me this shirt. Dudes, check out this shirt. Nuclear Addicts. It's just a really badass shirt, man. Got cool colors. Really cool punk rock drawing on there, man. I want to say thanks so much. I love getting gifts like this, man. And I'm going to shout out Ben Martin. Ben, you rock. Out of Hamilton, Ohio. Not only did he send me this shirt, man, dudes, he sent me this cool koozie, man, to keep my drinks cold or warm or whatever. And sick-looking punk rock koozie with the logo right there. And check this out, man. Old school cassette tape of Nuclear Addicts. Pretty cool, man. You open it up, it's got their own little badass logos and artwork on there. Isn't that just sick, man? Old school. Thank you very much, Nuclear Addicts. Great stuff. You can probably find them online on all streaming platforms, I'm guessing. I love these guys. Thank you again. So, we're going to go back to the year in which I think is 2015, but it's glaringly obvious that I have some cool color coordination going on tonight. Check this out, man. I got these weird-ass tartan earrings that I kind of like. And my tartan pants. Woohoo! So, yeah, man. At least I'm matching tonight, right? Trying to keep it together on some level. Going to go back to the year. I believe it's 2015. It's kind of irrelevant on the exact date. But since I'm going to do a story about lungs and about smoking and, you know, weed things in general, I'm going to smoke to that. Just need to relax a bit. And this is medicine, man. Medicine for the head. And, you know, speaking of smoking, I got to have one more hit, guys. Join me, would you? I feel rude. I'm just kidding, man. By the way, disclaimer, for those of you that don't smoke or partake in, you know, the extracurricular activities like 420 and weed and all that, no problem, man. I have a lot of friends that are straight edge, a lot of friends that don't use anything, a lot of friends that are big weed smokers, and I'm one of them. But it keeps me going. It helps. Whatever gets you through the night, it's all right. Oh, man. So, yeah, if you don't smoke, just blow off the fact that I just blew, you know, a couple hits off my bowl there. 2015, I'm living in Medford, Oregon, where we are growing weed. It's legal to grow here. My wife, Tracy, is out back behind our back door. You're in the kitchen of my little house. There's a door that goes out into the back patio with a big, like, 15-foot gate out back that's, well, about 15 feet. It's big, right? Because there's a lot of, that's considered the ghetto of Medford, Oregon, right? Like the bad area of town. And I lived right in the middle of it on West Jackson Street. I loved it there, to be honest with you. Coming from Peoria, Illinois, South Side, and hanging out in Chicago for years, it didn't seem very ghetto to me. And plus, depends what ghetto definition you're using. I don't know. Yeah, there was a lot of weird people around there as far as like creepy crawly kind of people out at night on bicycles with backpacks on that would go around thieving. Definitely a seedy area, but it could have been worse. God, I lived next door to East St. Louis in a town called Venice, Illinois. Talk about rough. So back to Medford. By the way, shout out to Chris and O.L. Slocum, great neighbors that lived across the street from me in that town. And they are still there, and they've got the most cool house. They've been there forever. Chris used to be in the band The Idle Threats. Shout out to them, and he was also in bands with me, like the Backstabbers. So I'm living in this house. Me and Tracy are growing weed. We've got maybe about 7 or 8 plants we were growing at the time. Some of these plants were huge, like with big buds about this big. Like we could literally get 5 to 10 pounds on certain strains, like oh God, not ogre, Jaeger, like the Jaeger and other ones, right? If you grew it right, you could get a big, big yield. So you spend a lot of money getting these grow products like Grow and Bloom, different things you give them at different stages of the growing process for cannabis, right? Tracy's got a green thumb, man. I don't. I'm kind of the helper and the tester. Well, I help her out, and I helped her out then. Well, we'd been growing these plants thinking, man, come harvest time, we can make a few bucks. We do a lot of bartering with it. Well, back in 2015, well, we do a lot of bartering, and we do a lot of that kind of thing. And I was thinking, it's going to be a good harvest. I'm excited. We've been putting so much money into getting these buds ready. And one night, man, we started noticing there's some buds that seem to be missing, like whole branches that were cut off in spots. We were tripping, thinking, did we cut one off to sample it? Did we give one away? But we knew we didn't because it wasn't time. So we installed security cameras that were in our kitchen. So when you looked in the camera, you'd literally be looking, if you look straight through it, you'd be looking right out there in the area where the person would stand, like just feet away. One night I walk into the kitchen, man. I walk into the kitchen. I'm a stick figure. And I look at the camera and there's a dude standing there. And I'm like rubbing my eyes like, was that a effing dude standing right there in my back porch, like 2 feet from me? So quickly I opened that door, right? And that dude didn't look at me. That dude literally went running and scaled that 15-foot fence I told you about in about 15 seconds, probably 5 seconds. I've never seen anybody do anything like that. It was just like, poof, over. I don't know if he was on meth, if he was just adrenaline, scared to death of getting shot, because most people have guns here in Oregon. But he was gone, and I was pissed. We had caught a thief right on our patio, feet from where I was standing. I failed. I get out there to see what kind of damage is done, and guess what? All the big buds were gone, man. They didn't just take buds and like randomly grab bud. These people were pros. Turns out there was a guy in town that was paying, or more than one, like a mini cartel thing, where they would pay you if you arrived at their house with a big satchel or backpack full of weed. You get paid by the pound or whatever, right? The black market. So these dudes were going around on bicycles all night long in our neighborhood, down the alleys, all over Medford, not just West Jackson area. And they would fill up these backpacks, and you'd see them driving around everywhere, man. And they have like these masks on, like ski masks. Can't see their face. A lot of them are wearing gloves. So we started figuring out, man, these are all thieves. This shit's all connected. This is like a well-organized crime kind of thing. Well, these guys went out there while we were, who knows, watching TV or listening to records in the next room. And they took some kind of scissors and cut all the big branches off all of the plants. So we went out there and they were stripped with just like the smallest, most spindliest, thin little Charlie Brown Christmas tree kind of branches. It was heartbreaking, man. We literally wanted to cry because it was like months worth of work. Lots of money put into it. A lot of love because plants resonate from energy. And Tracy literally gives these plants love and they would just grow so well. Man, we were pissed. But not only were we sad, we were really angry. And I got really angry. Matter of fact, I got so angry, I ended up sending myself to the hospital, to the emergency room. And this is what happened. I'm going to try to not talk too fast, but I'm not going to make this too drawn out, right? But it's an interesting tale, and I thought it might be entertaining. Da-da-da-da. So I start going out behind our house. It's pitch black out there. There's no alley lights, right? And we have this drug dealer guy living next door. I'm not going to say his name because I just won't. But he lived next door. He had a one-word name that rhymed with Ducky, but I won't say his nickname. And he was dealing drugs out of the house unbeknownst to me. But I knew he was doing meth and speedy drugs because of the way he acted. People think I'm on that shit, but I don't do drugs like that. You know, the thing is, man, I've never liked speedy drugs, period. So I'm out back one night looking, probably the same night, and it's pitch black. Yeah, it was the same night. Adrenaline is rushing back into my body right now. I go out there and I hear Bucky in the alley, and I start thinking, I wonder if this guy's tied into it. And turns out he's out there standing in the dark alley for a reason. And I said, what are you doing, man? Are you just high on that shit? Or are you just, what's going on, bro? You're making me paranoid. And he said, bro, listen, there's people talking in the alley, man. They're everywhere. They're like behind the plants and bushes in every house. Listen. And I'm like, oh my God, this fruitcake is high as a kite. I'm going to have to punch him out, man. Get my money back or see what happened. What's going on? My mind's racing. I'm judging. I'm being presumptuous. I'm really pissed off. And I'm sad. So Bucky says, man, just listen, bloody, listen. And I stopped and I started walking kind of up and down by a couple houses real quietly. And sure enough, I heard it, man. I heard about every 6 feet. There were literally these people competing to get to where, because everybody out here at the time was growing weed. Every other house had weed outside growing in their little patio areas with big 15-foot gates. Well, they don't help, by the way, the gates, which you figured out. So I started walking up and down the alley, and sure enough, I heard it. There were people competing to get to what weed they could. What they do is they wait till they see there's no one out there, or that your porch lights are off for the night, because you got to leave lights off. You can't have those on, or they'll affect the growth of the cannabis. So of course, perfect. Lights are out, plants are right there. Only thing separating these nut job criminals is that fence, which they can get over easy, right? So all of a sudden, I just start losing it. I'm like, hey, you MFers, I'll kill each and every one of you. I swear to God, just come out of here, all of you at once. And I started freaking out bad. And this guy, this neighbor of mine, freaked out. And he's like, man, dude, calm down. He got scared. And I said, no, man, I'm not calming down. I'm not going to sit here and be victimized. We've been getting stolen from all week, taking little things at a time. We thought we were losing our freaking mind, but they were doing it a little at a time so we wouldn't notice, because they probably didn't have time before to get all of them. So I was on to it, right? And I went and got a hatchet, a big hatchet that had one end like a 2-prong deal we could lift, like take nails out with, but a real big, thick metal one. But the other end was a hatchet, and very sturdy, would have been a very effective weapon. And I'm not going to lie, you guys, I lost it. And this was in the middle of a really spiritual phase of my life too. So it was a real weird thing for me to like lose it like this at that time. My spoken word album, Transcend, had just come out maybe 6 months prior. Anyway, I was reading the Bhagavad Gita at the time, the book. That'll come into play shortly. And I'm walking up and down the alley, and I wait like an hour to where it's quiet. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to wait till my neighbor goes back in. I'm going to walk around these alleys in the darkness. And the first person I see that's coming out to steal my stuff, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a hatchet, and they're going to wish they wouldn't have done it, man, because it was affecting the economy. I know it sounds goofy, but was it affecting the economy of our neighborhood, all of my friends, my wallet? And I was pissed, man. And I lost my freaking mind. I literally did, you guys. It's embarrassing to talk about it and a little bit shameful. But I got so mad that I was literally ready to, like, inflict great bodily harm on somebody. And I lost my mind. And I was sober, man. And I was just like, man, I'm going to end up going to prison for this, but I can't take it. I was off my rocker. My heart started beating really fast, like it is right now, thinking about this stuff. And I'm walking up down the alley, and there was no takers. I did this for like a night, the whole night long, until like almost 3, 4, and 5 in the morning. Well, when it started to get light out, my wife was concerned. She kept coming in going, man, bloody, you're losing her mind. And then a while later, dude, you lost your mind. A while later, you've lost control of your whole dharma, your spiritual path, everything. You're just hateful and trying to hurt people. I go, no, man, I'm trying to protect us. And my heart started pounding so badly that I thought I was having a heart attack. And my wife freaked out, and she's like, you got to go to the hospital, because she put her hand on my chest, and I was going, do. And I started flipping out, thinking, that's it, man. Like Red Fox used to say on Sanford, and said, this is a big one, Elizabeth. This is a big one. That's what he used to say. Well, I ended up flipping out, guys. I can't convey how much anger was coursing through my veins at the time. I was so mad. I wanted to hurt these dudes, these little punk thieves. So I ended up walking around the alley thinking, I can calm myself down. I'm okay, man. I'm okay. Well, dudes, I wasn't okay. And next thing you know, I felt like my heart was going to come pounding through my chest. It hurt so freaking bad. I'd never had a heart attack. I got my ass in the car by myself. I grabbed a copy of the Bhagavad Gita. I believe my wife actually drove me there. Yeah, she did. She drove with me. Tracy came. Saw me get, checked in, and they said, yeah, we think you're having a heart attack, dude. So they checked me in, and I decided, that I probably needed to be there. But they wanted to do x-rays. So they did x-rays. When they came back out, they said, man, we found a spot on your lungs that's about yay big, and it's kind of concerning. We don't know what that spot on your lung is. We need you to stay overnight. We need you to do a biopsy in the morning. And I'm like, oh my God. I immediately went from being super angry to scared like a little child. I was scared to death. I talked to someone recently that was getting a biopsy, and he was saying the same thing. Man, I'm just scared and nervous as hell. But I'll get to that, okay? So I got my Bhagavad Gita, the book I'm reading with me. I thought I had a copy sitting right out. It's irrelevant, but the Bhagavad Gita is a very old, maybe 10,000-year-old scripture, and it's just a trip if you haven't read it. But I'm holding the Bhagavad Gita. I get checked out. They find this x-ray mold spot. They didn't know what it was. So what happened was they checked me into a room. I told Tracy to go home. She did. And then later that night, 3 doctors came into my hospital room, man, right? 2 white guys and an Indian guy, a guy from India. And the 2 white guys came in and were acting all panicky and weird. And I could tell they were being fake. They didn't want to tell the boy what was wrong with me or what they suspected, which is common with the AMA medical practices. And that shit pisses me off. Man, do I have cotton mouth. Ugh. Sorry if I sound funny. Anyway, so the white dudes come in and they show me these x-rays, right? And they're telling me, well, we think there's a possibility you might have the big C. And they said that to me, man. But they said, just a possibility. We don't want you to freak out or panic or get too, weirded out about it. It might not be. And I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me, man? That's the worst. I didn't want to hear that news. Well, a few minutes later, those guys leave. And I'm sitting there reading my Bhagavad Gita like a good boy. And the doctor knocks. He walks in. He's from India. And I was happy to see a guy from India. And he walks in and I say, Om Namah Shivaya. And he goes, Om Namah Shivaya. He goes, everybody in my country says that are into, Shiva and religious, spirituality. I almost said the word religion. Sorry, that's not what I meant, man. So he says to me, and he's warmed up to me already because I said Om Namah Shivaya. You can look it up. Anyway, I'm holding the Gita in my hand, and he says, I see you're reading that good book. People in my country also read this book. I go, I know, my friend. I'm not, not an idiot. I know where the book's from. It's from India. It hails from India. So he tells me, I want to talk to you. I said, go for it, because I'm scared shitless. And the dude says, well, you got to get a biopsy, which you know. And I want to tell you what those white American doctors said. He goes, I don't mean any offense to white people or Americans. I said, speak freely, doctor. I have total faith. I won't be offended. I said, speak freely to me is what I said. Tell me the truth. And he goes, I'm going to. And he took out the x-rays, right? And then he drew on a piece of paper like this, a big scriggly paper. And he goes, check this out. This is what cancer kind of looks like in a nutshell when you get an x-ray and it's like lung cancer. I said, okay. And then he pulled out my x-rays and he put them next to that. And he goes, tell me, what's that look like to you? And I go, that doesn't look anything like cancer. And he pats me on the back. He says, look, I want you to read your book and rest easy, okay? You're going to be okay. And I immediately believed him. I said, you know what, man? And then he says to me, by the way, that little spot we found on your lungs, we think that's mold. Do you smoke a lot of cannabis? And I said, yes, I do. He said, are you a cigarette smoker? I said, yes, I am. And he said, well, we believe that's a spot of mold from smoking out of dirty cannabis pipes. So I was smoking dirty bowls all my life. I would do it a lot, man. I mean, the one I have right now is probably in need of cleaning. It's not too bad, but I'll smoke to that. So he said from smoking weed since 1979 until the year 2015 that they suspected it was mold, which was not going to cause me any harm as long as it didn't grow or, get out of hand. And I thought, how weird. I've got mold on my lung from smoking out of dirty pot pipes. And he said, yeah, dude, it's not going to be a big deal. By the way, real quick side note, I recently got other x-rays to see about that. It has not grown. Yay! So they ruled that out. They knew that the mold wasn't going to be a contributing factor to the heart. They said the heartbeat thing was all me working myself up into a state of almost giving myself a heart attack. So I literally created my own reality by freaking out that night, letting my emotions and mind get away with me. And just think, if I would have caught somebody in that alley, I'd be sitting in prison right now going, man, dude, why didn't you just stick to your path? You know, it's okay to defend yourself, but do you want to go to prison? No. I don't know if you know about prison, but yeah. So I'm in the hospital bed. The guy says, rest easy. I'm really comforted by this doctor from India, right? I went to sleep, but I was still a little scared. The next morning, they came and get me, and they put me on this big gurney, and they take me down the hallway. And the doctor's a big guy, about not a doctor, he's a technician of some kind. The guy that does, well, biopsy technician, I guess, right? He comes in, he's balding, he's got a little beard. Big dude, man, like 6'7", like a huge hulking man. He wasn't real compassionate like the doctor was. He was more or less like the other white American Medical Association doctor sort of treated me, like, kind of like just a paycheck or a number. So they wheel me down there, take me downstairs. It's really cold in there for some reason. In the room they do these biopsies. And man, I'm congested, guys. Whew. I've been getting that again. Remember, I've had the congestion problem since last January. It went away. We determined there was mold in my house. We got so much of it out, but the job's not completed yet. So that's what I think the deal is. Please, no comments about mold, because I don't want to hear it. I've already talked to everybody, specialist. I know what I'm doing. We're getting it removed. It's just time. So my friends, I'm in the room. I'm getting ready to get a biopsy on my lung, which they told me they're going to literally go in through the side of my chest, go into my lung, take a piece, snip it off. I'm like, ouch. And I'm tripping, man. And they said they're going to analyze it and tell me if I've got the big C. And I'm like, please, please, please. I'm praying up, I'm praying down, I'm praying sideways. I just wanted to make sure I didn't have it, man, you know. And I just was praying to the universe, man, you know, universal consciousness. Whatever any of that means, I just didn't want to have the big C, right? So we're sitting there talking, and the guy says, look, I assure you, you're not going to feel any pain, man. Not with what I'm about ready to give you. And he tells me he's going to give me some morphine. And I'm like, oh, because being a former addict, I was like, that's stuff I used to do for fun. I used to buy bottles of that stuff. But it was really dulling. It would make you just kind of like not really with it clarity-wise. It was kind of like that. Don't enjoy morphine nowadays. Wouldn't want it if you gave it to me, unless I was getting my leg cut off or amputated. Yeah, I'll take some, please, thank you. But at the time, I was like, oh my God, if you're giving me that. I told him, look, I'm an ex-addict. Can you give me a little bit higher of a dose? Because maybe I've got some high tolerance. And he goes, ha, good try, but you're going to get enough. Trust me and stop, man, relax. Because I was just like at that point, all afraid all over again. Everything the Indian doctor said went out the window. And I was just like, so I said to him, all of a sudden I'm feeling that. And I'm like, wow, man, woo. I was like seeing good visions, happy visions, opiatic visions. And I said to him, I have one favor to ask, technician, sir. And he says, what? I said, just tell me when you're getting ready to do it so I can prepare mentally. And he goes, wait. I go, what? He goes, dude, I've been in your lung for 5 minutes. I'm like, what? So he'd already been in my lung the whole time I was being a puss and worrying and being a big baby. Oh, my Lord, it was a freaking trip. And I'm laying there going, this guy is in my lung right now, snipping a piece of it off, mind you, and I don't even feel it. I didn't feel him go in the side of my right here at all, man. I didn't even feel anything. And so I looked over at that technician and I said, I'm really enjoying my biopsy. And he said to me, in 42 years or 32 years, whatever it was, he goes, I have never heard those words. And he was laughing like a little girl. He was just dying. He was shaking his head like, God, these former drug addicts. Anyway, it was funny as hell. I really did enjoy my lung biopsy, though. I mean, I can't complain. So if you're getting ready to have a biopsy, just know they're going to give you enough stuff to make you go into orbit. You're going to feel like you're hanging out with George Jetson and his dog, or his son, Elroy. Was Elroy the son? Daughter Judy. Let me know the names of the son and the dog from the Jetsons. Just one of you, though, in the comments below. Please subscribe to my channel. And also, maybe give it a thumbs up if you would, just to keep the little algorithm happy. It's a true story. Sometimes I just don't have rock and roll tales on hand, but I've got some coming up, I promise, man. This was just another one from the old vault. The addicts of my mind. The skeletons in my closet. And the biopsies that I enjoyed. Thanks for being here at Bloody F Mess Official. Rock on, man.